Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all keeping safe and well. Tottenham Hotspur finally have a new head coach. Nuno Espírito Santo has just been appointed as the new head coach until 2023. Gareth, let's start with you. How are you feeling about this news?
Well, it's great that it's finally been announced we have a new manager, because the last couple of months has been, I mean, we've been up, down, everywhere. Honestly, and it was getting to a stage where you just couldn't. I couldn't look at an hour video of yours, Chris, or I couldn't look at an hour news report. It was draining. But you know what? Nuno was my first choice, but from where we were with Fonseca, Gattuso, I would have had Nuno over any of them two. So the only, I mean, if it had been Nuno back in May, a lot of people would have probably been warmed to the idea of Nuno. But I think it's because of the fact he wasn't on the original list. Levy had. He doesn't normally play attacking football, but I mean, this year Wolves didn't play attacking football because they lost Jota, Jimenez's injury. You know, Wolves were sixth in the league when Jimenez got injured, and they ended up finishing the third team. So they did lose a lot of goals. It did put a lot of the burden on Neto to score loads of them goals for Wolves. If you go back to them first two seasons, they did finish seventh. And they did beat Spurs 3-1 and 3-2 away from home. So you know, it's not to say that he's very defensive. I think he adapts to what he's got, and he could well adapt the playing attacking football for us.
Melvin, let's come to you. Now, it's about an hour ago that the news broke. Nuno Espírito Santo is the new Tottenham Hotspur head coach. Are you happy?
Yeah, you know, when you see him, you know, holding up the shirt, you just can't help get excited and get behind him already. You know, he's not even, you know, put any names on the team sheet yet, and I'm already behind the guy, and I'm already delighted with the appointment. You know, when we were linked with, you know, people from the Serie A, I don't want to go into any names, but I'm happy we got with the Premier League manager, someone who's experienced, who's been to these away stadiums and knows the Premier League. So yeah, I'm very happy with Nuno.
Josh, let's come to you. How are you feeling about the news?
Yeah, I'm really happy actually. I think it's been such a long time, hasn't it? It's been a bit of a roller coaster for all of us Spurs fans. But yeah, it's Nuno. He's Premier League proven. He did a great job at Wolves. I'm really happy as a Spurs fan. He's a lovely bloke, and I think that's quite important as well. And like Pochettino is a gentleman. Nuno is a gentleman. He looks very emotional, I think, in a little clip that I saw of him like holding up the Spurs shirt. He looked very happy to join our club and said that he wants to make us fans proud, and that's what I want to hear as a fan. So yeah, I'm excited. This has actually made me feel really excited for that Man City game on the 14th. I'm not sure if it's on the 14th of August or around then. Let's get cooking. Portugal FC, come on, you Spurs.
Gosh, do you know what's really important for me with Nuno? He's got he united Wolves. They were the fans, the players, they had that joint feeling. Whereas like over the last couple of years, we've been very broken. Our dressing room has been broken. Even at times when Wolves when it was going wrong and they had a bad result, he was able to get them going in the right direction again. And I do think he's got that. He can adapt to what he's got, and he can get us all fighting for the same cause. And like he said, make us feel proud again.
Yeah, I totally agree. We need a family again. Like Pochettino built a family. Let's try and build a family under Nuno. And I think he's the right kind of man, right kind of manager to do that. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm happy as a Spurs fan. It's not an appointment that makes me feel kind of underwhelmed, like a Fonseca would have made me feel a bit underwhelmed. He's Premier League proven, as I said. He did a great job at Wolves. I know last year was a bit of a sticky year for Wolves. Obviously, they lost their main man, but we've got Harry Kane, we've got Heung-min Son, we've got others in there. Come on, let's go. I'm excited as a Spurs fan. I know I've said it 5 times, but...
Hey, guess what, too? Our first away game. Where is it, Chris? Where's your first away game?
I know. Wolves away. Unbelievable. Gary, let's come to you. How are you feeling about this news?
Well, I was on the phone ordering my chicken shawarma and chips, so I'm not going to be able to stay long because my dinner's on its way. But I did speak to Gareth a little bit earlier on WhatsApp, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's just Sky and that. It's not going to happen. It's just another name they're plucking out of the air and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I turned on Sky Sports. It's confirmed. I get the message from Chris Cowlin. I said to her, babe, quick, get my dressing gown and let me know when the chicken shawarma gets here. But if I'm honest with you, I think Gareth touched on it. And a couple of people quickly on WhatsApp I spoke to, and if you go to the last few managers, I would certainly have Nuno before then. But I don't know if Daniel Levy has done a masterclass here, because when Nuno was first mentioned at the beginning, no one wanted Nuno. Everyone was like, no, don't want him. Then we went Conte. Then there was talks of Poch. Then it was Ten Hag. And it's gone full circle. I think we're just at the stage now. Look, not taking nothing away from Nuno, because he could come in and be amazing. But I think we're just relieved and happy that we finally got a manager. I think if you would have said, you know, it's Ronald McDonald, we'd be like, do you know what? Let's go with it. Let's back him. But I'll tell you one thing. He might get a tune out of Doherty, and Doherty might start being like Dembele. You never know.
Do you know what, Gary? I think you're absolutely right. A lot of Spurs fans are absolutely relieved that we do have a manager now. We can say that we've got a head coach. You know, the pre-season friendly against Leyton Orient is only days away.
Exactly.
You know, pre-season starts only days away. You know, that game against Manchester City at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the 15th of August, not that far away. You know, we need to prepare for it. Are we all excited about this appointment? Or, you know, because like some of you have already said, you know, on this very short stream so far, you know, he's not a first choice. You know, we've gone through all of these managers. Are you happy with the appointment though, Gary?
I'm fairly happy. If you put it into choices, I'd probably put him as my fourth. I would go Conte, Pochettino, Ten Hag, and then I probably would have put Nuno. So he would have been my fourth choice. But because we've done this merry-go-round for 60 odd days, whatever it is, I think, you know, we're just grateful. I know all the lads will say the same. It's just relief that we've got someone. We're going into the new season now. At least we have a manager. If we start winning games, at least we've got a manager's name to sing, because we didn't have it before. So
yeah, but is it the right appointment, Gary? Is it the right appointment?
Well, listen, the thing is, Chris, you know, we all thought Mourinho was the right appointment, and it proved he wasn't. Only time will tell. At the end of the day, you're going from Mourinho to Nuno. On paper, it's like going from Waitrose, Marks and Spencer's to Aldi or B&M. But as you well know, you get some good deals in B&M and Aldi. There's some good stuff in there. And I've knocked their steak before, but their steak is nicer than Waitrose, I'm telling you. So you never know.
Paul, let's come to you. Nice to join us. Thanks very much.
Evening, Chris.
Your initial thoughts on Nuno Espírito Santo as the new Tottenham Hotspur head coach?
About time we got someone in, wasn't it? But like I said, whoever's in charge, mate, gets my full backing. So, you know, Nuno was the man in the end. So let's support him, back him, and hopefully he can take us further than other managers previously. So yourself, how are you feeling? You all feeling happy? So I've just joined it, but...
I've just got here a minute ago. I'm about the same. I'm 50-50, so...
Yeah.
Do you know what, Paul? I'll answer this very honestly. I want to feel more excited. And I know everybody online is saying back the manager. I do that. I back the manager. You know, as soon as you see them holding up that shirt, you're going to back the manager. I'm with Melvin. Melvin said, you know, you feel that excitement about a manager holding up the shirt. You know, he's just taken over. You want to back the manager. But I don't know. I just probably want to feel that a little bit more excited than I do at the moment.
Melvin, you wanted Poch. You wanted Poch like I wanted Conte. You wanted Poch and
Nigel.
I'm not even mentioning Pochettino on this stream.
You will.
Like, his contract doesn't until 2023, and Pochettino's contract runs out then.
I'm surprised Gareth ain't more disappointed because he wanted Potter. You must be devastated, Gareth, here.
No, we're not even mentioning him. We've got Craig and Anthony on there. Craig, let's come to you. How are you feeling about this new appointment, Nuno Espírito Santo?
Hi, everyone. All right.
Craig, I'll put the dressing gown off you.
Top man. I was underwhelmed. I'm still a bit underwhelmed, if I'm honest, but you've got to get behind him now. We needed a manager at the end of the day, and I'll back him and let's see how he gets on. But he certainly wasn't my choice. But, you know, Levy's turned around and said that about the DNA statement and the attacking football side of it. Apparently he did play that way at, was it Valencia, was that? Yeah, so... Yeah. I don't know. I must admit, I didn't even know he was there till earlier. So let's see how he does. But we needed a manager, and we've got one now. And it could have been worse, but it could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
But I'll get behind him.
Anthony, let's come to you. How are you feeling about this appointment?
Has it happened, is it?
It's happened. It's happened.
Yeah. It's happened again.
Is he having a shot? Is he having a shot? Listen, as come from what the boys were saying. He wasn't my first choice by all means. It was always Conte for me.
Yeah,
but
same.
I think, listen, what can we do? We can't change it now. As long as he brings, you know, a few players from Wolves like Pedro Neto or Connor Cody, I'll be very happy. Oh, he's holding it. Cheers, brother. I've been on the phone all night.
What's the chances, Anthony, of England beating Germany at Wembley, going through to the quarterfinals of the Euros, and then Tottenham Hotspur get a manager?
That's it.
Well, that's it. That's Spurs, isn't it? That's Spurs.
Spursy.
It'll be interesting to see us when we play Wolves third game of the season. I'm looking forward to that.
Second, I think, is it?
They'll probably beat us. But listen, it is what it is. We've got a manager now. We've got to try and back him, and that's it. Done. I mean, look at when we first appointed Poch, he was never in my radar. It was always Louis van Gaal. That was it. That's all I wanted. But Poch came and he delivered. We had some good years under him. Went stale the last 18 months. Brought Mourinho in, who I thought was going to be amazing for us. Didn't work. So let's see what Nuno brings now.
Anthony, how do you think Harry Kane feels about this appointment?
Well, listen, I think my gut saying is he's going to be going. So as long as we try and spend the money wisely, if he does go and bring in some good players, then it's going to happen, isn't it? You know, it's just one of them things where Spurs will always be around. We've got to support our club.
Yeah.
Melvin, let's come back to you. You mentioned there, you know, when you see a manager holding up the shirt, you want to back him, you want to support him. It's all about now whether the board do back the manager. Do you think that, you know, the signings will follow now and, you know, lots of players will leave, lots of new players will come in?
Yeah, it's exciting to see the manager, because for a while, I think I mentioned this in a couple of videos ago, that for a while it was like we had a house that was on fire, but we were trying to fix the kitchen. You know, we had a bigger problem. You know what I mean? We're trying to fix the kitchen while the house is still on fire. Now I think the house, you know, Nuno is holding that hose and the fire is out. And I think now we can really fix the real problems, which is, you know, the defense and, you know, a couple of other places. And you hear we're being linked with people from Syria, defenders here and defenders from Spain. And it makes you think that, you know, Paratici along with Nuno, they can really work together. I'm more excited, to be honest, about, you know, having a Paratici on board. I've spoken to some Juventus supporters. I've spoken to some Juventus supporters, and the way they speak about him, like he's a genius, and the way they speak about him, it's like they're how we sometimes talk about Pochettino. We think, you know, they speak so highly of him, and I think them working together with Nuno, I think will be a good combination. I think Nuno alone wouldn't be a good signing, but I think him and Paratici together, you know, fixing the problems that we have, and hopefully by, you know, they can fix it so they can have a good preseason. And it's not good enough if, you know, the problems are fixed by the end of the window. They need to be fixed, you know, before the first game, and they need, you know, a proper preseason. And you know, you hear Lo Celso isn't going to have a proper preseason, and hopefully these things won't hurt us in the beginning of the season, because that's where we need the points. You know, Pochettino, I think when he started with us, he had a good preseason, and we had good early starts, and we had good points in August and in September, and that's when you really finish in the top four, when you start well and you get a couple of wins on the belt, and, you know, people start to believe in the philosophy. And hopefully, you know, Kane doesn't come in and make the place, you know, a toxic atmosphere, which could happen. You know, it could not. You know, maybe he gets convinced by the new signings and buys into this new project, and, you know, maybe Levy can somehow manage to convince him that we're not further behind as much as people make us out to be. And I think we're further along in the project than, you know, people actually say we are. I think we're not that far off top four. I think a couple of quality signings. You know, we can score goals. We just need to defend them.
You're mentioning the top four already, Melvin, yeah?
Yeah, I don't think we're far off. I didn't think we were far off this season. You know, statistically, we weren't. You know, we've dropped so many mistakes just from having an unfit team. You know, if Nuno can, you know, get a tune out of these guys, and you know, have a Pochettino preseason, let's call it, and have these guys fitter than they actually were last season under Jose, and be strict. You know, Delhi's already training, and yeah, if we can improve our defensive record, that's already probably 5 to 10 points just by fixing those issues.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously if we keep Kane, we need to keep Kane, because you cannot replace, you know, 20 goals and 15 assists with one player, and Kane gives you that. To me, it's key that Kane stays, you know. So if we keep all of these guys, and Son looks like he's going to sign a new contract, you know, bless him. Son, he doesn't say a bad word about the club. You know, you got to admire that. You know, the ship is sinking, and unlike Kane, he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay and try to win things at the club.
Gareth, let's come to you now. Fabio Paratici, his actual appointment at the club doesn't even start until tomorrow, the 1st of July, is the official start date. But he has, you know, been heavily involved in his appointment of Nuno Espírito Santo. He actually wanted to bring him to Juventus last year.
Yeah.
How important do you think that his role will be at the club now?
Well, I think the first sign of a shift in power is that he's been able to convince Levy that Nuno should be the manager, because from what we're hearing, it sounds like Levy didn't really initially have Nuno on the shortlist, because Nuno's been available for a long time. And you know, even when he became available at the time, it was made pretty clear by the journalists close to Spurs that he wasn't being considered. So he's obviously convinced. He was obviously being, the names that were being linked were Paratici's men, the Italian fellas, before Nuno. So it's hard. I think we spoke about it, Chris, the last time on the fixtures, about, you know, is this Levy accepting that, you know, he needs to take a step back, or is this him providing someone to be in the firing line if it goes wrong? You know, I didn't pick Nuno, Paratici did, because we've seen with Franco Baldini before. You know, he had a half decent reputation coming here, and it didn't work out. So, I think any manager, Chris, is a gamble. We know we've seen it with Mourinho. We've had some big names here before, and it's been some of the second choices and third choices that have done well. So, as Gary said there, Nuno was probably his fourth choice, but that doesn't mean to say Nuno won't do well. You know, if this had him a year ago and Wolves coming off the back of a Europa League quarter-final, a lot of people would have been saying Nuno was the right man. So it's very difficult to weigh up. Them first few games are going to be crucial for him, as it is with any manager. You know, Pochettino had a half decent start, and then eventually it sort of, I think he had a bad October, didn't he? And then it all came down to that one game, really, with Villa. If we had lost that game 1-0, you know, Pochettino might never have been in the job after that. So it's all about making a good start. You know, can he convince Kane to stay? I think any manager coming on would have found it difficult convincing Kane to stay. You know, so obviously when the Euros is finished, he'll be having a conversation with all the players, including Kane. As I said, he's played that 4-3-3 system at Valencia. He had a back three at Wolves. You know, for me, I think he probably will go with a back three. I mean, there's rumours of her signing this Tomiyasu, is it? I can't really pronounce his name, but he seems to be the most concrete link at the minute. So I do think he will set up with a back three. You know, people are saying about free-flowing attack in football. We all want to see that, but there has to be a balance as well. You know, defensively, we haven't been good enough. So if he can get the balance right, I agree with Melvin. I don't think it's as bad as a squad as people make out. There's definitely players in there, and if we get the right players in, we could have a decent season next year. You know, and we have to be positive, Chris, because we've been far too negative for far too long.
Yeah, very true. Craig, let's come to you. Jordan actually writes now, Craig, you grow that beard out and you can upgrade from Christian Gross to Nuno.
I think we're the same age, actually. I can't take that as a compliment, although I'm going to try. Yeah, thanks for that. I'm, as I said earlier, I'm reasonably happy. I'm actually happier than I thought I would be getting Nuno. Perhaps it's just the relief of having a manager now.
To get a manager.
You know, because I've been absolutely so pissed off.
Definitely.
For the last, God knows how long
we all have.
With everybody just turning us down or not getting the job or whatever it is. I think with Nuno, if he can bring in or influence Paratici, we can get somebody like Adama Traore. I know it might be a big ask, but I've said on here many times you can't mark pace. And I love watching Traore play. He's ripped us apart a couple of times, hasn't he? I think with players like that, if we can get him from Wolves, that'd be a big shout. The Neves, yeah.
But I prefer, honestly,
it's
I would prefer Neto.
End product. Yeah, I prefer
Neto because Traore, did he score 1 goal last season? I think it was like 1 goal he scored. You know, so he can beat them, but he can't really.
But Craig's right though.
End product.
You can't defend pace. Yeah, his end product's terrible, but you can't defend pace. And I think if he was supposed to come, he's got better players around him in that sense. Do you know what I mean? To run off him like a Son or a Kane. As long as some of the deadwood goes this season, I'll be reasonably happy. I really will. Like,
I think as well. We've had I've no Ant's banged the drum about him before, but Anderson that was at Fulham. I think I'm total agreement. I think if we can get him, the other defender that Gareth mentioned before that I've seen name mentioned that escapes me now. But
Tomoasu or something like that. But it seems pretty close.
In a
free with Alvaro.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, we're not a million miles away. You know, we're a long way away from winning the title. Don't get me wrong. We're not a million miles away from the top 4. We get 2 or 3 decent signings in, and as you say, get rid of the deadwood. And we all know who that is that needs to move on. And you know, pre-season starts next week after. So
Monday.
Monday. Well, there you go. Paratici gets to work quickly, gets rid of the players that we don't want at the club, get a few in early, which we never seem to do, I know, but get them in. I'm still not convinced that Kane is on his way out. I'm still not convinced he's going to go. I'm still not convinced Levy's going to sell him unless we get a ridiculous offer. So we'll just wait and see. What will be interesting for me personally as a Bale fan is whether all his social media changes back to Real Madrid tomorrow, because his contract runs out today, I believe. So that will be very interesting. But and obviously whether we take up, although apparently we haven't got the option to re-sign him again to next season, but would he want to come back? I think Cardiff was a possible destination for him, which would surprise me. But you never know. You never know in football. But I'll get behind Nuno. And let's see how he gets on. But I think he's got a better squad with Tottenham than he had at Wolves. I think that's very important to remember. And, you can play. Perhaps he had to play the more defensive style because he just didn't have the attacking players, especially as soon as he lost Jimenez last year through a horrific head injury. So, let's see. And that's it. So they have to, if he's a very smart guy from what I understand. So he would know priority was keeping Wolves in the Premiership, and that's what he did, and that's what it took to keep them there. So they weren't that bad the first couple of seasons. They were quite attacking, and they put us to the sword a couple of times.
European quarter-final last year against Sevilla, who went on they won it, and did Sevilla beat them in extra time? I think it was. So there were no mugs them first couple of seasons.
But he hasn't managed Tottenham yet.
No,
but he's only got the Conference League.
What's interesting, he's only got a 2-year deal, hasn't he? So
that's what surprised me, because he has a project manager. It took him a lot of time on Tuesday.
But that's Poch's time as well, though, isn't it?
I was going to say it's 2 years. Poch has got a 2-year contract, and they give Nuno a 2-year contract. That's fun.
There's no coincidence there, is there?
Absolutely.
It doesn't scream that they have any long-term confidence. I don't know. That's the worry, that they've only given him a 2-year contract already. That's alarm bells ringing that he's not. So that's the one thing. But or maybe it's just for security in terms of they don't want to pay him off if it goes wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Josh, let's come to you. Are there any Tottenham Hotspur players that will be super excited by this appointment, perhaps thinking that they'll get another chance in the team? People like Harry Winks, for example.
Harry Winks.
Already getting a new contract.
They're probably licking their lips.
Don't worry.
If you ask me, it would be Matt Doherty. It's got to be Matt Doherty, hasn't it? Because obviously he played for Wolves. He was great at Wolves. It's been kind of shocking. He's come to Tottenham and had an absolutely awful season with us. And I thought it was quite shocking because when he joined us, I was excited. I thought, he's a great right back.
Yeah.
We're dying for a right back. We're absolutely dying for a right back after playing Aurier all season and losing Trippier a couple of years ago. I think Doherty could be reborn under Nuno, back connected with his old manager. I think we could see a bit of a transformation from him. And other players, I hate to say it, but I got a text earlier saying Eric Dyer is going to be in there again. Obviously, the Portuguese connection, which is not going to be good for us fans. We all know what's going to happen there. I'm saying bang on Matt Doherty to have a good season, hopefully. If we play 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, I can see Doherty having a great season.
Yep.
Gary, what about you? Do you think there's any players that would be worried about Nuno coming in or very happy about his appointment?
I don't think there'll be any worry, but like Josh said, I think Matt Doherty must be just thinking, but you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Doherty is like the new Højbjerg next season.
Yeah.
He really could be the most improved player, honestly, because I think there is a player in there. And with Nuno coming in and stuff, it's the first thing I thought of when I saw the news. The first thing I thought was Doherty, and I thought, you know what? He might be able to get a tune out of him. And honestly, I do genuinely believe Matt Doherty will get a lot of game time for us this season coming. And I think it will be really good. I really do. Honestly, I'm laughing when I say it because he's been absolutely awful. Yeah. But I think he'll probably be the most improved player. In regards to what other players are going to be happy and who's leaving, I thought very quickly, change the subject, but keeping with obviously Harry Kane and stuff. I was thinking, obviously, we're all watching England and stuff. If England win the Euros and Harry Kane lifts the trophy as the captain, is that less pressure for him to then leave Tottenham? There's more likelihood, I think, if we win the Euros, then Harry Kane thinks, you know what, I've just won the Euros for England, captain. Surely that's got to be better than winning the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, maybe even the Premier League or even the Champions League. You know, I don't know where he would class it, but that might keep Harry Kane even longer. So, you know, I mean, we've just got to keep positive thoughts.
Gary, I think you're bang on there. I think that's one reason why Lloris has actually stayed with us for so long, because he lifted the World Cup trophy with France in 2018. He won that World Cup. And I think he's been loyal to Spurs because that's the biggest trophy you can win as a captain as well of your national team. He lifted the trophy. But so, I totally agree with you, Gary. Hopefully we can win the Euros.
It stops them wanting so much. They're not needing for things so much. You know, if England win the Euros and he lifts that trophy as the captain, I mean, he's going to be pretty happy for a while, isn't he? I think that's going to sort of, you know, keep him at Spurs, I think. You know, unless the deal's already done, but I don't think it is.
I think it depends who the clubs bring in, who they bring in. If they bring in the quality that he liked to play alongside, then you might see him stay. If they bring in,
apologies, lads. I have to shoot on here. All right, apologies, lads.
End of the.
Cheers, Gareth.
Oh, what's that?
Cheers, Gareth.
All right. Good luck.
Gary, going back to your point about Matt Doherty, do you think that Tottenham Hotspur now won't sign a right back this summer because Nuno will be saying that, you know, he's going to turn him into a superstar for Tottenham next season?
That's the first thing that came in my mind. I think probably we won't. But I do genuinely think, though, that there is a player in there with Matt Doherty. We saw him at Wolves. He's a good player. I do honestly, genuinely believe. I think Nuno will be a big turning point for him. So I think Matt Doherty stays and Matt Doherty plays. I genuinely think that. And I think with Nuno, it will depend our first few games. You know, Man City at home and then obviously Wolves away. You can't write it. Our first few games will be telling. But I think Matt Doherty starts in those games. And if we get a good run to start with, then, you know, in a weird sort of way, I don't think there's really any pressure on Nuno now. You know, I mean, we've gone from Jose Mourinho, where he expected everything, to Nuno, where we don't really expect much. But that's a good thing. I think, like what Anthony touched on, when Poch came from Southampton, none of us really had any expectations. And we're very similar with Nuno. And I think when Mourinho was appointed, we was all thinking, we're definitely going to get the FA Cup. We might even get top 4. And our expectations were high. But with Nuno, they're quite... I wouldn't say they're really low, but we're not over-expecting. So I think it could be a pleasant surprise. I genuinely do.
Well, talking about expectation, Anthony, let's come to you. Now, we speak a lot about trophies, and a number of comments here want me to bring up that T word. You know, the trophies are way overdue. Is Nuno Espírito Santo the man to deliver Tottenham Hotspur trophies?
No, not at the moment. No, not this season. No, I can't see it. I just don't think we got it in us. I hate to be negative, Norman, but it's the truth, mate. We get to finals and we bottle it. So I want to be proven wrong, 100%. I want to be on it. I want to be on it, eating my hat. Trust me. But we've been to finals, and it's just an anticlimax. Just not good enough unless they change some of the players that need to go. Certain players need to go, and I'm not going to name them because Chris, you know who I'm talking about.
We all know, don't we?
Well, I know we've spoken about it at length, haven't we? But of course, we didn't have a manager then. When we're talking, Nuno Espírito Santo has just been, announced as a new manager. Who do you think he will fancy at Spurs, and who do you think that will be heading out the door?
Well, yeah, Lamella needs to go. Lamella needs to go now. Enough's enough. Winks, 100%. Sissoko needs to go. Aurier, yeah, to an extent.
But will Nuno be thinking the same as you, Anthony?
This is what I mean. I hope so, man. Because I hope he's seen him when he played against them. So when he was Wolves manager, so I hope he's got a bit of, ounce of sense to go. Yeah, they need to be jogged on.
Savvy, yeah.
Because I can't be having certain players in the middle of the pot in the start of the season. I can't, because I will lose my shit. I will lose my shit.
I can't wait to meet all you at the first game. It's going to be brilliant. We're all going to be going mental. I'm ready for Tottenham Man City. I've got VIP. I can't wait.
Good luck.
VIP.
I've gone VIP to the lot, mate. I can't wait.
You just said you're not expecting a lot, Harry. You just said you're not expecting a lot. But surely you're expecting 3 points against Man City on the opening day.
Oh yeah, we're their bogey team, so we might beat them.
This is a good time to play them, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
First game.
We ain't got a bad record against Man City, so you never know.
Just get over and done with, mate, because I hate playing City when we need to beat them to become, get into the top 4 or challenge for the, top 3, and we end up bottling it, as we always do. So just get it over and done with. Just get it over and done with out of the way. It's like going to the dentist, isn't it? Just get it done.
Oh, this club.
Craig, how are you feeling about players, though? What players do you think Nuno will want to keep at the club?
Yeah, that is the worry, isn't it? That he's gonna want to look at everybody. He's going to want to look at everybody, and I can just imagine Harry Winks having an absolutely storming week, and then signing a new deal. I can see it happening, but. I genuinely don't know the answer to that, Chris. I think I think like we said there, Doherty's going to be rubbing his hands together. He's going to want to keep Kane, obviously, if he can. He's going to love Son. He's going to love Højbjerg. We know the players he's going to love. It's those fringe players that all of us have said time and time again. I'm not going to repeat the names. It's all the ones that we know need to be moved on. And is he going to want to keep them? The likes of the Lamella, all the names that were reeled off there with Ant.
Yeah.
I can't really add much more to that. And I think we're just going to have to, how many times we use this statement, we're just going to have to trust him to get on with his job and do his job properly, and Paratici to do his job properly. If Levy will let him do it properly, that's the bottom line, isn't it? If he's going to bring in a director of football, he's got to trust him to do the recruitment and let him get on with it and take a back seat. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. I think we'll have a better idea come August, just before the season starts. There's not much else we can do. Just sit back and see how they see it. But I'm for one of hoping that the deadwood is shipped out. We know who the players are. I want to see Skip come back in, get fit, and sit in that middle with Højbjerg, and then go from there. But we all know. Chris, can I just ask you a quick question? I haven't watched YouTube much today, but I don't know if you posted a video. When everybody was singing Sweet Caroline at the end, it looked absolutely awesome last night, the atmosphere.
Yeah, brilliant.
Were you still there for that?
Absolutely. I absolutely was. Do you know what? That was one of the best days of my life last night.
Amazing.
I watched a lot of Wembley, and that was incredible. If I could relive that moment again, if England get in the semi-final or the final at Wembley, the scenes that last night, 40,000 fans there, and it just felt like 100,000 were in that stadium. It was
Chris, it was the icing on the cake. Kane just scoring near the end, because everyone was so. Even my mum, she's a Liverpool supporter, and even she phoned and went, "Oh, I'm so happy for Harry Kane." I think everyone, apart from Arsenal fans, probably, because I saw a few on AFTV didn't celebrate, wanted Harry Kane to score. We all wanted him to score so badly, didn't we?
What's the matter with him? Seriously, when in Euro '96, I remember I was cheering David Seaman to save.
It doesn't matter who it is.
It doesn't matter. You're playing Saka had a great game. And I'll tell you what was great at the end, and I was saying about the Sweet Caroline, was Harry Kane was being interviewed by BBC.
And the singing.
He was asked a question, and it was the atmosphere just looked fantastic.
Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it?
He just turned away like that, and he's looking around him, and he's almost in tears. And it was just perfect. And I don't think I'm going to appreciate how good that performance was last night until a few months down the line, because that was the same in Euro '96. You know, when we beat Holland. Apart from the fact I was the most drunk I've ever been in my life at that Holland game. Yeah. And I was to this day, I didn't make it in work the next day. Didn't get up till about 4 in the afternoon. I was sick everywhere, but it was well worth it. And I'll tell you what, you know, if we can get
the next day, I was only 16.
Mate, honestly, no, I was early 20s, and oh my God, I was so drunk that day, and I just want to relive those times again.
I probably had 3 bags of Haribos instead of 2.
Josh, let's come to you now. Jason writes on screen now. Awful appointment. Shows total lack of ambition. Harry Kane won't stay for Portuguese Sam Allardyce, and Eric Dyer, Winks and Davis get another chance. What do you say to people like this?
Look, I think we all know, obviously, Nuno wasn't the first choice probably for anyone, any Tottenham fan. He's 4th, 5th choice. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you don't, as a fan, you don't get to choose who your manager is, and you just got to get behind him. I mean, it can't. There's one thing that it can't get worse than. It can't get worse than what we were watching under Jose Mourinho at the end. Honestly, the only way is up, because that was so low. We were at our lowest moment, I think, as a club. We just weren't performing. We were playing defensive football. As Daniel Levy said, the DNA of Tottenham was ripped out of Tottenham's heart. What we've got to do now is rebuild with Nuno. Yeah. We've got to actually bring passion to this club again. We've got to play attacking football again. I want to see a family, like we were talking about earlier, a family and a cohesive unit that Nuno can build. And I think from there we can then build and try and get back to the Champions League in say 2-3 years. We're not going to get top 4 next year. It's just not going to happen. But we can build there. It's an objective. It's an aim to get there again. And I think that's where we belong.
I think it is possible though. Like Anthony said, you know, we're not going to win nothing, and I totally understand what you're saying. But it is possible that we could go on this season and we could maybe win the FA Cup or something like that. And I know what you're saying with the players and everybody else, but Arsenal have been awful every season, and particularly the season that won the FA Cup, they were awful in the league. But with a bit of luck on your side and a few players in and out, we could win a trophy. I'm not saying we will, but it is possible. I think appointing Nuno, it doesn't, you know, cross us off from, you know, winning something. I think we've got just as much chance, if not more, than when we had Mourinho. Because I think, all right, results might not go away, but I don't think it's going to go toxic with Nuno like what it did with Mourinho. And because of that, I think the dressing room might be a happier place. It doesn't mean Winks is going to become a good player by any means. But if we get a bit of a run and we go through a few stages of FA Cup, you just don't know. It's because we've gone from Mourinho to Nuno. So we're a bit like, I don't know. It's a bit like going from a really nice Jag to a Peugeot, but then actually the Peugeot ends up being more reliable than what the Jag was. It's a bit like that. You just don't know. We have to just sort of go with it now and see.
I've got a Peugeot, by the way.
And is it reliable?
Do you know what? I had to get a spring replaced today. That bloody broke. So I'm in for 170 quid on that. So you might be right, Gary. I don't know.
Well, listen, I'll make you feel better because I've got a Range Rover, and one tyre on that cost me nearly 300 quid.
See.
I reckon Nuno might need a spring replacement. Paul, let's come to you. Jason writes another comment here. Banter club again for forthcoming season. Pochettino and Conte would have insisted on keeping Harry Kane and selling Dross. Nuno agreed to work with this team. What do you say to that?
Well, you know, like I say, we've all got an opinion. Just got to back him now, despite what we've all thought. You know, you've got to back the manager now. He's in there. We can't do anything, but as long as they're backed in the transfer market now, so he has transfers that he wants to get in, Paratici, and off we go, onwards and upwards, hopefully.
You know what?
We can all sit here and say we want this, we want that, mate, but... You know, I like Paratici to get someone like Sabitzer in or Dybala because I thought Sabitzer was great in the Euros. Of what I saw of him, I think he'd complement our strike force quite good. But and with the Juventus connections, you know, you hope that Dybala might be resurrected, but I could dream.
We all dream.
Voice. This is the England game yesterday as well.
I did wonder. I thought your voice had gone a bit.
Yeah.
I was shouting quite a lot on the TV. I think the whole neighbours could have heard when we scored.
You shout when you voice like me on WhatsApp. You've got no choice when I voice like you. That's where it goes as well.
No, exactly.
I'm gonna have to shut off, mate.
Melvin, let's go.
See you later, boys.
Cheers, Aaron.
See you later.
Melvin, let's come to you. Do you expect signings now to be announced very soon?
I think I'll be more excited about, you know, people actually making room going out of the club. I think before we'll actually expect signings. You know, we need to sell before we buy. I think there's money. The club has money to spend, but these players haven't done it for the past 3 years. Some of them anyway. We all know who these guys are. I think we just need to move these guys on, and it's the only way we can build and move forward. You know, you mentioned Sabitzer, great signing that would be, but we need to make room for him. Is he gonna play, you know, Lamela or Bergwijn, and you know, is Dele gonna fit into his system? They need to make, you know, they need to take decisions and stick with them. I really hope that, you know, Paratici has seen or knows about what happened last season.
What's that?
Yeah,
It's a video of Paratici. Yeah, it's just come out.
Paratici,
there's videos been posted of Nuno as well. There's a 2-minute interview on Twitter, which we'll probably watch later on. But yeah, I'm just excited that it seems to me similar of the time when we had Pochettino in for the first season and we had to move on the likes of Adebayor and, you know, Kyle Norton and Capu and Ben Taleb and all these guys that, you know, were holding us back. It just seems to me we have those exact players still at the club, and until we move them on, we're still, you know, with one arm tied behind our backs. You know, we have to pay them wages. You know, they're still worth something. They're not worth nothing. You know, Moussa Sissoko's still playing for France, which is insane.
Yeah, his ball still travelling over my house after that volley. The ball was still coming across my house from the volley that he did for France last week. Last night.
Shocking.
You know, Levy has to.
It was like, there's the psycho shot.
You know, Levy and Paratici have to adopt a mentality. You know, like, you know, buy 2 get 1 free or something like that. Because you know, we're not going to hold on to them forever.
They still wouldn't sell him.
The price.
They would sell him.
You know, if they're expecting 30 million for Ben Davis or 30 million for Harry Winks, you know, it's not realistic, is it? You know, just accept 5 to 10 million and move on. You know, Levy can't keep haggling like that, you know, forever. Yeah. You know, they know, other clubs know that we're not really interested in them. The fans are not really interested in these guys. You know, so just let them go. You know, it's better to cut your losses and move on. And haggle for another $1 million. You know, they're gonna hold us back anyway. You know, look what happened. The biggest lesson of this all is the Eriksen deal, I think. You know, if an offer came in for Eriksen, you know, a year before he was on his last year or 2 years before he was last year, and he haggled with the price. Look, we ended up selling him for nothing, for 20 million, and you know, he held us back, and we didn't get Bruno Fernandes, which was the reason we didn't get Bruno, because of that. You know,
Jedson.
He needs to take that and move these guys on, so we can invest. You know, if we sell on 3 players and we can buy 1, I think, and 1 really good player, I think that's a victory. If we can move on, you know, lots of deadwood that we have the club that does pretty much nothing. Harry Winks only played in the Europa League pretty much, and in that West Ham game where he assisted Lanzini. So what's he worth to us, other than, you know, he's Tottenham through and through, and he's homegrown and he loves the club. You know, move these guys on.
Yeah.
Hello, Ian.
We've now got Ian. Ian's just joined us. Ian. Thanks for
You just
joining us.
woken me up, mate.
How are you feeling about the news? Nuno Espírito Santo, the new Tottenham Hotspur head coach.
Back blooming time, we got someone in it.
How are you feeling about the appointment?
No, I'm pleased. I'm very optimistic. Actually, we need something to get the season going again.
Yeah.
So we've just got to move on. It's better than Ryan Mason, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We'll see.
That's my thought on it, anyway.
That's
Gary,
one positive.
Gary, let's come to you. Now, in Daniel Levy's statement, he said, I've already spoken about the need to revert back to our core DNA of playing attacking, entertaining football. And Fabio and I believe Nuno is the man who can take our talented group of players, embrace our young players coming through and build something special. Is that how you're feeling?
Well, no, not really. But probably Daniel Levy's not feeling that either. But that's what he's going to say, isn't he? He knows what the fans want to hear. But it's just a case of, I mean, how many days was it we went without a manager in the end, Chris? You'll know, was it 60 odd?
70 odd, in the 70s.
70 odd days. Look, we're just at that stage now where we're just relieved and just finally we've got a manager. Look, you know, we can go over it again. He's probably no one's first choice. But at the end of the day, I will say one thing though, the wife who I call the knowledge, who's a Chelsea fan, apart from that, she's all right. The day Mourinho was sacked, she said, you should get Nuno. Nuno would be perfect for Tottenham. And I went, nah, I don't want Nuno. He's not good enough for Spurs. But who is good enough for Spurs? I mean, you know, when you look at Tottenham, where they are now and stuff like that, is the club and the players too good for Nuno? I don't think they are. I think maybe when you look where we are and how we finished the season and everything else, maybe Nuno is the right fit. What's on that? Maybe Nuno is the right fit. So
pick and mix menu.
So I think you know, he wasn't my first choice. He's probably none of your first choices. But the wife called it. So you know, for all we know with Tottenham and everything else, she's the bloody one that got it right, and she's Chelsea. So maybe she knows something. But only time will tell. You know, I'm at that first game of the season.
I wouldn't say that, Gaz.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, you know, if Tottenham win that game or Tottenham go ahead, we won't be complaining about Nuno then. It's all about results. You know, people say the Tottenham way and the DNA and everything else. At the end of the day, it's about winning. If we start a few games and we get a few good wins and we go to Man City and beat them and we beat Wolves, no one's going to be bothered about Nuno being the manager. And we're going to back him and we're going to go for it. Where it goes wrong is when you start losing games over and over. And that happened with Mourinho. So at the end of the day, we've gone from Mourinho, whoever really we got in place of Mourinho, apart from probably Conte, bringing Poch back, and maybe at a push Ten Hag, but I don't even think Ten Hag. No one is going to, you know, match up to Mourinho. So I think I'm fairly happy. I'm not overly happy, but I think once the season starts, if we see a bit of, you know, decent play and we get a few results, I think myself and I think the majority of the fans will be happy with Nuno. And like what the guy just said, he's a better appointment than Ryan Mason. I'd rather Nuno than Ryan Mason. And certainly the last few managers that were being thrown around. So we've got to go with him. But, you know, it was like I said earlier, when Poch came from Southampton, no one really expected much. And look what he delivered. Yes, we didn't win anything, but he definitely got us top 4 football every year. Got us to Champions League final, you know. Let's just hope this time with Nuno, if he gets backed, it's going to be a lot better than having Mourinho not getting back. So you've just got to hope that, you know, Levy's learned a lesson and maybe we're onto something good. See what happens, isn't it?
What's your definition, Gary, of being backed?
Well, I think, you know, certain players out and certain players in, and he's got to be given a little bit more control. I think in the past, the managers don't really have a say. You know, when Poch turned around and said, I'm just a coach, I'm not a manager. You know, stuff like that. They've got to be in charge and make decisions. And look, there's not going to be an endless supply of money. We're not, you know, I think did Man United just pay nearly 80 million for Sancho or something I saw on Sky? You know, they got a never ending
73 mil.
There you go. City are talking about Grealish for 100 million and there's stuff going around Kane for 100 million. You know, we ain't got that. Tottenham ain't got that. Let's be realistic. So I think where we are in the budget we've got, I think in a weird sort of way, although I didn't want Nuno at the very beginning, because we've gone full circle, I think maybe he might be the perfect manager for us. Let's see what happens, you know?
Yeah.
We've already invested the money.
Vlad right on the screen now. Tim Sherwood once said, the project is you win games or you get sacked. which is why I'm not worried about the 2-year contract. Can always extend it. Are you surprised that it's only a 2-year deal?
Yeah, probably. I thought it'd been about 3 years, but 2 years, as I say, first year getting in, getting to know the club, getting to know the fans, the players that he's got at his disposal. You know, it turns out it might be successful. It gets extended further, but you can see, you know, the back of my mind thinking 2-year contract, quite coincidental when Poch's 2 years remaining on his PSG. I know we can't assume, but you know, it's quite
good point.
funny
Good point.
that both will be, you know, expiring at roughly the same time. You know, if things don't work out, then you've always got that to fall back on. So who knows? It could be in that they're thinking, but like I said, we got to back him now. We got to support him, give him 100% attention. Just hope that, like you said previously, the deadwood are out and we get new blood in. You know, even you give him a chance, giving Dean Scarlett a chance, people like that, and upwards and onwards, mate. You've got to be positive. Life's too short, and with Nuno, I've got a family sentimental thing of it because my dad was a massive Wolves fan when he was alive. So to have his manager, you know, it's quite nice to have that little heart keep safe in there, saying, "Well, got your manager now, Dad. Let's see if he can turn us into a decent team." Because when he was alive, bless him, when we lost at Wembley 2-1, he was happy to gloat when I was in his company before he passed away. So just want to get one back over of him.
Are the trophies coming, Paul?
England, maybe, yes.
The
Euros,
Euros, maybe.
Come on, England. Tottenham, ask me this question another year's time, Chris, and I'll let you know.
Craig, what are you expecting from this first season from Nuno?
I'm not loads, to be honest with you, but I just want to see a bit of progression. I just want to see the squad refreshed and a bit of progression. You know, and if we can obviously nick a trophy, obviously you're going to take that. But just a bit of progression to see we're going in the right direction, to see they've got a project, to see the club moving forward.
Identity again.
Just get back to making me enjoy watching Tottenham again, because it wasn't particularly pleasing last season. So that's all I want. You know, I'm not asking the world. I want to see a bit of progression and attractive football. And that do me for next season. Well, you're kind of consolidating. You are rebuilding. Yeah. So, I don't think I'm asking the world. I think you asked most Spurs fans that. You know, of course we want to win the Premier League and everything you go in for. It's not going to happen. No. You just got to be real. You've got to be realistic, and I think we'd all take that right now. To put the enjoyment back in, to see the fans back in the stadium is going to be a massive boost. Just feeling better about Tottenham, Chris, I think is the answer to that one for me, anyway.
I just want to.
What about you, Josh?
I totally agree with Craig. I think just seeing some attacking football again will kind of tip my box. Something that's just enjoyable to watch. Something that's going to make me have a smile on my face as a fan. I don't really care if we lose a game. It's in the manner of the performance. If we turn up and we park the bus and show no ambition or passion on the pitch and just don't look progressive, then it's just going to make me feel a bit depressed. And I think a lot of Spurs fans felt like that way at the end of Jose Mourinho's tenure in charge of the club. I want to see some attacking football. I just want to see a team that's going to give 100% every game. I feel like at the end of Jose Mourinho and probably quite a lot of Jose's tenure in charge, players weren't given 100%. There were lots of just individual errors. We were always talking about players making mistakes every week. I just want to see a unit that's going to make White Hart Lane a fortress again. And I think Nuno might be able to do that. I mean, obviously we can't read the future, but from the past, and you can always learn from history. Nuno turned Molineux into quite a fortress. They always gave the top six a right battering at home. I remember them getting results against Man United, the Liverpools, the Man City. So hopefully we can actually turn White Hart Lane into a fortress again. Try and go undefeated or something. Just keep going, keep positive, and hopefully Nuno can do the job and make all of us Spurs fans proud, as he said.
Ian, let's come to you.
Just
How
play with some
excited are
passion,
you
some
about
pride, and
Nuno's
smiles.
It's what? Sorry, say again.
I said, how excited are you feeling about Nuno's appointment? So, someone's written here, is the guy down there asleep?
Look, I'm ponderous, mate. I've been working all day. You know, it's come as a shock to me having to work again. I'll tell you. I'm looking forward to getting into the stadium. I can tell you that for a start, instead of being a bloody couch potato. How excited am I? I'm really excited. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to is the personnel changes. We really need to ship some of the old players out, start again a little bit, you know? And if you actually look at it, we've already had so much money spent. You've got Ndombele, which was a total waste of bloody money. And like, I think he's been rubbish ever since we've ever had him. Get rid of, that's 50 or 60 million quid there, isn't it? You know? Davison Sanchez, you got another 40 or 50 million quid worth there. There's money to invest in the team based on just on those two players. We don't need to sell Harry then, do we? Really?
No.
You put the younger players in with it. I think it can be a cracking season. But just started again. We got, like I agree with your colleague just now, saying we got to make the stadium a fortress. It really has got to actually be sort of like where somebody's scared to come to us.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Start building it from home, and then you can build on your away performances after. Yeah.
Do you think that Nuno will go to Wolves for any players, though, Ian?
Do I? There's one or two players in there that are there, but I don't know whether. Last year was actually really disappointing for Wolves, wasn't it? You know. And so, from that point of view, whether there's any that really are what we're looking for, no, I don't think so. Hopefully, he'll go out to Portugal, won't he? I think he'll pick up some from abroad. I think Paratici is going to make a lot of difference based on buying from Italy. You know, but I can't see it from Wolves really. If they're losing a manager, and they'll be decimated as a team if you're not careful, won't they? Yeah.
Chris. I've got to love you and leave you because my chicken shawarma and chips has turned up and it's looking at me and I'm absolutely starving. But what I'm going to do is tell you straight on and then watch you on the channel. So no doubt I'll be messaging you about my dinner and my sweets.
Thank you, Gary.
Cheers, Gary. Have a good evening. And the trophies are coming and come on you Spurs. At least we've got a manager, innit?
Lovely.
Thank you,
Gary.
I'm going to pop off too. We'll see you later as well. See you later, lads. Thank you.
Cheers, Josh. Ta-da.
Cheers, chaps.
Right, Melvin, let's come to you. What are you expecting from Nuno's first season? What do you think will happen?
I don't know. I just want to see an energetic team again. You know, playing very, very fit. You know, 90 minutes, sprinting till the last second. You know, don't conceding in the last 10 to 15 minutes. What we were used to under Pochettino and what became, you know, normal for us. And it just seems under Jose, the players weren't fit for some reason. And if you look at the Wolves side, you know, they didn't stop running. And when we played them, you know, they tackled us and it just seemed a really, really difficult side. And, you know, they were on you from minute one and they seem to have lots of energy. And that's what I want to see from our team and our team this season. I don't know, you know, how long the preseason is going to be and if it's enough, you know, to be ready for Manchester City and to be at that level. But, you know, with Pochettino, the first season, it took time, I think, until we got used to his philosophy and his way, and it took, I think, till December for the team to really click and gel. So there's gonna be, you know, a period where we have to accept that the results won't go our way from the beginning. You know, it will take some time, but yeah, it's excited. It's a fresh page, and we move on and we move forward and we get behind the club and behind the team and. You know, maybe we'll be back at the stadium. Hopefully we'll be back at the stadium and, you know, we get to see some familiar faces and it will be great to be back. I haven't been back to the stadium since Christmas, I think, of 2019. So
we're missing a neck oil, aren't we?
Yeah. You know, I don't know what that means, to be honest.
Craig, let's come to you. What do you think Nuno Espírito Santo's key strengths and main strengths are that he will bring to Tottenham?
I think you definitely got to look. To be honest, I don't really know too much about him, but I think certainly from what I've heard, he's going to work on that defence. Everything he does is based on the defence. So you would hope that he would sort that out. But then again, Mourinho's teams are built on defence, and look what happened last season. So again, it's going to come down to being backed, isn't it? And getting rid of those players that you don't want. The worry is kind of Davinson Sanchez. Is he going to want to keep Davinson Sanchez if he's playing a back three? You know, because if you're shipping out two centre backs, you've got to get two in, and you're playing three at the back. You're going to want at least five that can play centre back, perhaps in case of injuries. So, is he going to ship out two centre backs? You know, we've been saying for ages it's time for Dyer to move on. You know, I like Eric Dyer as a person. I think he's very good in front of the camera. Apparently, he's a really smart guy. That's all good, but he hasn't been brilliant. And if he's going to be shipped on, and you're getting rid of Sanchez as well, and you're keeping Alderweireld, who else you got centre back there if he's playing three at the back? Ben Davies can fill in, yeah. Alderweireld and the other guy, Joe Rodon. Yeah, I was thinking Tanganga as well, possibly. But you might see Tanganga as a centre back. Mourinho didn't, did he? But Rodon, I've heard differing reports about Rodon in the Euros. I didn't think it was too bad, to be honest. But then I see a few comments on Twitter saying Tottenham are saying about building a team around him. I don't think anybody said that, but that's saying he's championship level defender. Well, he's kind of still learning his trade, so I'm willing to give Joe Rodon a bit of slack, to be honest with you. But as for other strengths, I think apparently he's a very good man manager, and he's going to create hopefully that team bond that we seem to have lost last season. You know, under Poch, it felt like a family. It felt like you was part of a family, didn't it? And we lost that. We kind of lost our way. So perhaps that's why partly they've gone for Nuno, because he installs that and he brings that into the squad. And if we get that back, I think that's going to go a hell of a long way to helping us succeed and at least push on next season.
Ian, what do you think that first game of the season would be like? Manchester City at home.
It's almost a bit squeaky, isn't it? Well, last year, didn't we just sort of like just about nick it when they had about 80% possession and we won it, didn't we? You know, I'm hoping that Man City are going to actually start off slowly, because I can see us winning it. You know, being in the atmosphere, if you can have a full house there, then I think it's going to make such a difference. It's like, hopefully it will have a feel-good factor. Yes, I would like to think we will win. I don't think we're going to go unbeaten or anything else like that at all. But as long as we can put on a bit of a show, and as long as Harry Kane ain't playing for them, you know, because of the fact, if you do that, unless the team can change dramatically, in which case we've replaced him with maybe if we got Gabriel Jesus, I don't know, that might be a fair with cash changes as well. I don't know. I look at Harry Kane and what he's done during the Euros and I'm thinking, well, I'd actually quite happily sell him for 150 million and take the money, really. But that's how I feel. I think we can actually win the first game. I think the atmosphere will be good. It'll be great to let you buy me a pint again, Chris. I'll appreciate that one, right? But I think it'll just be feel good because everyone will be glad to get back in the stadium.
Yeah.
You know?
Ian, how important do you think it is, though, that Nuno Espírito Santo knows the Premier League, got fantastic Premier League experience? Does that put more confidence into you as a fan? Because, all these names that have been bandied about and Tottenham have been linked to and in talks with, a lot of them didn't even have Premier League experience. Do you think that's important to Tottenham?
No, not really, because if Levy's there and he's saying, well, we've got a culture that we've got to work to, we've got a DNA that we've got to work to, that's bringing out a particular style of football. So Pochettino actually hadn't been at Southampton for very long. We actually nicked him after 1 year, didn't we? You know, and I would have actually taken. There's a number of managers I would have taken. I would have taken Stevie Gerrard. I would have quite happily had him on board. You know, I think he's actually got the mentality, and he would have actually forgotten about Liverpool quite happily to come to us. So I would have enjoyed having him on board. I even would have had Scotty Parker because he's got Spurs in the DNA a little bit. Yeah. So as far as Santos, I'll take him because I think he's a good manager. And when you actually look back on what he's done in Portugal, he's played with a 4-3-3. He's played, 4-4-2. He's quite flexible on the players that he's got and the way he plays them, isn't he? Historically. So, no, I'm quite happy. I'll take that. Have a year, see what he's like. And like, I don't know whether it's Paul that was saying it was on a 2-year contract. Well,
yeah.
If it's 2 years, then you've got to give him a chance. We're not going to get relegated because there's going to be some shitty teams around there, aren't there? So, with that in mind, we just got to go again.
Wouldn't put it past us.
Hey?
I said it wouldn't be just our luck. If we just our luck, we would be in a bloody relegation fight. I don't want to tempt fate, but
well, heaven forbid. No, I think it could be a good season. I really do. And let's face it, we've got to start with optimism. You can get pessimistic once you get into the season, can't you? But let them earn the right to actually make it successful.
The thing is, let's come to you, Paul. The thing is, he's going to start his job immediately. There's a lot of work to do, isn't there?
Very. Yeah, there is a lot of work because we all know it. You can all see it. Just take his time. Don't make any rash decisions. Assess his squad. Keep your best players. Pick your best players and work with your gut kind of your means. But like you said and you all touched on, I just want to see the players playing with a bit of passion again. And I won't accept them not trying for 90 minutes. We said it loads of times on there previously, Chris, haven't we? When the players gave up and they weren't trying. Don't want to see that next season. I want to see 100% from everyone, every game. That badge, you play for pride, play with passion. We're Spurs and we're better than everybody else. But, definitely looking forward to next season. I always do, always an optimism. Optimism, come on, you Spurs.
I'm with you on that one, Paul.
Craig, what do you make of this?
Craigie.
It's not the first time somebody's mentioned that on here, is it? So he must be a good looking guy. It's incredible. I look like, honestly, I do, but I must be the person in the world that looks the most like more people in the world than anybody else. I swear to God.
Which is good. Now.
Which is great fun, I have to say. It's great fun because I'm all for that. Yeah.
Last question for you all. Who do you think would be the first Tottenham Hotspur signing under Nuno Espírito Santo, and who do you think the first Spurs player going out the door will be? Craig, let's start with you.
God, that's a question.
Good question.
I think let's cover going out the door first. I think it'll be Aurier first out the door. First in, I'm going to go for Max Aarons from Norwich, I think.
Exactly what I was going to say, Craigie.
There you go. I'm glad I was first.
Well.
Can I just say, I have to. It was trending on Twitter last night. Wouldn't have been many other people's choice, but I'd have took Klinsmann before this Nuno thing, before the Fenerbahce links. Yeah. I'd have 100% took Klinsmann because he, honestly, just as a person, I mean, I loved him as a player. And I was old enough to remember him playing.
We all did. Yeah, we all did.
The way he handled himself, you can just tell. Just on BBC last night, the way he handled himself. I know you were there, Chris, but go back and watch it. He was just absolutely sensational. What a gentleman. And I'll tell you what, to have that in the dressing room, that sort of person in the dressing room, I don't quite know how he hasn't succeeded at clubs that he's been at and jobs that he's had, because the guy's football knowledge is fantastic anyway. Vardy.
Vardy, I take that. I take that. Go on, Jack.
Yeah, but he meant Rebecca Vardy. Sorry. So
as long as it's not Hercules.
But Klinsmann for me would have been my first choice out of everybody else that we've already ditched. But I'm getting behind Nuno. Let's see what he can do, and can't wait for that first game, which I'm unfortunately going to miss because I'm away. But I'll try and sneak a look on my phone because I won't be going far. I'll be in the country. So yeah, come on, you Spurs.
Ian, who do you think would be first out the door under Nuno and first signing under him?
Well, the first one out the door, I was going to say with Aurier, so I actually can't go for that, but it really looks as though Sissoko's on his way out as well, which I'm not disappointed about. The first one in, I think it will be Max Aarons, and I'm reliably informed he spent quite a lot of time down around Tottenham during the summer holidays, isn't he? I know he was actually at the end of season party, so that might be giving a bit of an idea.
Really?
Yeah, but he was actually there at the end of season bash apparently. Whether that was actually the incorrect information, but that was what I was led to believe. And I'm pretty sure that he was given information that he was going to play for a 12-month with Norwich because he wanted to leave a year ago, didn't he? You know. So I can imagine him being there this year anyway. Ian looks like who?
The Cray brothers.
It's the glasses, mate. That's all it is.
I think he looks a bit like Bricktop out of Snatch. I think.
Yeah. As long as it's not.
But what about you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think actually the first signing would be someone going on loan. How about Troy Parrott going back on loan somewhere first? So just out of the blue, say nothing relevant, but yeah, that'll be the first a loan signing somewhere. Youngsters going out to gain more experience. Then possibly, like you say, I think Aurier will be gone. Obviously, his ideal choice is Paris Saint-Germain again, isn't it? So he's already said that. He's come out in public and said that. And like you all said, I love Max Aarons. So I love Max Aarons at the top, a bit of young youth in English as well. Sessignon as well, the other side. But whoever's coming through the door, you know, they'll have my support, my backing come match days and in the stadium. So, and whoever goes out, you know, thanks for your service at the club, but your time's done and dusted. We want new blood, more passion, so off we go. So, you, Chris, who do you think will be?
I think probably Sergio Aurier will probably leave, and I think someone like Joachim Andersen, of course, spent time on loan at Fulham last season. You know, he's been heavily linked with Tottenham, and there's been all these reports stating that a deal has been done. It's just got to be, you know, carried forward by the manager when appointed. So I'm expecting signings to happen, you know, in the next couple of days. I wouldn't be at all surprised because Paratici, we keep being told by the likes of Fabrizio Romano, he works 24/7. You know, he never ever sleeps, and he just works. He's a workaholic. So, you know, for that, the amount of work that needs to be done at Tottenham Hotspur this summer is absolutely huge. So I'm hoping that, you know, a lot of work is carried out in the next few weeks because, of course, we've got pre-season friendlies. We've got this tournament coming up as well. You know, and then we've got, of course, the start of the season, a very, very important game against Manchester City. But with Nuno starting his job, I just think that him starting it, he's got to get off to a very good start because, you know, there are some doubters. There are some people who are very unhappy with this appointment. You know, looking in the comments today and looking on a number of my videos, you know, the comments that people have been putting. Whenever I've mentioned Nuno, there is a lot of people who are not happy with the appointment. You know, a lot of people, you know, once that, like Melvin said at the very start of the video, once you see a manager holding up that shirt, a lot of fans who weren't, you know, raving about Nuno Espírito Santo will come round and say, yeah, of course, he's my manager now. We're going to back him. And I think we all have to back the manager. Whoever is in charge, we need to back the manager, you know, give him our full support and, you know, sing his name from the off and get behind the team in the very first game at the Spurs Stadium. You know, it's very important.
When we had Christian Gross, we backed him. Jack Santini, I backed him. You know, they're my manager. They're, you know, they're one that are in the helmet, my great club. So, our great club, not our great club. So yeah, get my full support until the day they go out the door. And it's thanks very much for your service. Who's in next?
Yeah.
Chris, thanks for the Ardiles comment, whoever that was. That's a new one. I did see a comment scroll through there. I was just checking the comments, and it said somebody had commented, sorry, I couldn't remember your name, that me and Chris should pledge to not shave Nuno style if Spurs go on an unbeaten run. So that'll probably be two games, Chris, I reckon. And then we can
yeah, we've been clean shaven for most of the season, I would have thought.
Mate, I can never get to your standard. Trust me, bum fluff.
That's it. You're going to probably go for it then, Craig, yeah?
Honestly, I would happily. I'll tell you what. I'm not sure the wife would like it much, but if we just imagine going unbeaten from August to January, I'd have a massive beard down here, and it'd be well worth it if that's what it meant for Tottenham to go on that sort of.
Christmas.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I would take that though. I would take that. Grow a beard for a few months if Spurs on unbeaten run. I tell you, that'd be fantastic.
Well, Nuno's already clipped his beard. He's looking very trim, isn't he?
Yeah. He was still a little bit scruffy. It's not the neatest beard I've ever seen. But see, that's what it's come to. We're talking about the manager's beard. Not, this club. I'm a bit happier though. I'm a bit happier because we've had some dark days on this channel, haven't we? We've had some really frustrating chats. We've had some angry chats, since the end of last season. So hopefully this is a sign of better things to come, and hopefully these chats will be a lot happier going into the new season.
Let's hope so. Can't get any worse.
Craig, he's unbeaten at the moment. As
Sorry?
Spurs manager. He's unbeaten as a Spurs manager at the moment.
Exactly, yeah.
Got to be happy with that. Great. Thanks so much for joining me tonight.
No problem, Chris. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Nice to
here's a comment for you, Ian. Ian looks like an EastEnders character.
What? It's Beerley, isn't it? As long as it's not Bill.
Dr. Leg.
Yeah. As long as it's not you in there, Chris.
Ian, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Nice to speak to you, boys.
See you, Ian.
See you soon. See you at the stadium.
Right. Thanks as always, Paul.
Pleasure as always, Chris. Thanks for having me on the show again, mate. You stay safe and well, everyone watching, and come on, you Spurs. Next season, mate. Next season.
Wayne's just written, you look like Ian Bill.
Yeah, well, that's what I knew he was going to say.
There you go.
Well, you got the same namesake, so you're right.
Yeah.
Oh, and Martin's just written, you look like Pat Butcher. On that note,
I used to look like an armpit.
Thank you so much to all of my guests tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. I'm just so glad that we've got a manager. It's all about getting behind the manager now. And remember, the trophies are coming. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
Spurs.
Yeah.